Morning, everybody. It's Friday morning, and I've been thinking um, the anniversary. It's my grandson's birthday this weekend. We're also coming up to Valentine's Day. Um, but what's been on my mind, and it's probably since the little trip to Warwick Castle, got the mic, probably after my trip to Warwick, that it's come to mind about the Queen and this year being her 70th anniversary on the throne. I mean, I was just born when she came to be crowned, when she came to be Queen. So it's a milestone, isn't it? It's a platinum anniversary. I've got a platinum ring. See that one there? Rings that Alfie bought me, and it's tiny. It's a 1 carat diamond. It's tiny, but it was very expensive. I had it valued at about £4,000. That's platinum. It's more precious than gold. So anyway, it's the Queen's platinum anniversary, and I thought, bearing in mind the monarchy and how they all live, just show you a little clip.
I look forward to continuing to serve you with all my heart. The pledge of a monarch who's already done her duty for 70 years and whose commitment clearly remains undimmed despite the passage of years. And with that promise, a glimpse of the unseen work that's been part of the Queen's daily life for those 70 years, the paperwork from her official red boxes,
Look at the
government
fireplace.
documents, many of them highly confidential, and messages from abroad.
Really nice comments, including one from President Biden.
I doubt President
Tributes
Biden.
to the Queen
I
on this
doubt
accession
very
day were
much.
led by Prince Charles. In a message he said, "On this historic day, my wife and I join you all in congratulating Her Majesty the Queen on the remarkable achievement of serving this nation, the realms and Commonwealth for 70 years. And of the Queen's stated wish that Camilla should become Charles's Queen Consort, the Prince said, 'We are deeply conscious of the honour represented by my mother's wish.' The Prince of Wales is clearly delighted at the Queen's endorsement.
The Queen's wish. Oh my gosh. This reporter, I've got to show you him. His name is Nicholas Witchell, and he's the BBC royal reporter. Prince Charles cannot bear him, and I don't know why he's still doing the royal gig, but the gig. But Prince Charles can't bear him, and he was caught on camera speaking to William and Harry and saying, "Oh, there's that god-awful man." So that's Nicholas Witchell. Anyway, it is a milestone. It's a big thing. She's the only monarch who's reached 70 years on the British throne. I doubt very much whether she's doing any work of any major import now. It's going to have been passed on to Prince Charles. Camilla won't be doing anything of import. She'll be there as Queen Consort eventually, which is just supporting her husband, as Diana would have. I truly believe that Diana, although she was unhappy with Charles and Charles with her, I think if they'd have put duty first, I think they'd have made it through and they'd have been king and queen. But that brings me on to talking about the great big abyss. There's a book actually called The Abyss by an American writer called Jack London. And Jack London, in the 19th century, he dressed as though he was a working man, and he went through the streets of London as a working man, living as a working man, going back to his hotel, to tidy up and clean up when he could, but basically living as a working man for a few days at a time to see how working men were living and what real life was like for the working class man, and it was pretty bad, pretty bad. They still had the strings, the ropes, I should say, where people could go for a penny if they got nowhere to sleep and just stand holding onto the rope and nod off and sleep. And there we have people living in opulent palaces and castles, such as Warwick, that I took you to the other day. Just such a clear distinction. The abyss is the right word. A very clear distinction between those who have and those who have not. It still goes on today, to a lesser extent, yes, but there is still parts in Birmingham where I live, in London certainly, parts, and I know in America, where real poverty reigns, where kids are left to run riot, where mothers don't mother, where fathers are fickle, um, and where life is just such a misery for those children growing up. And it shouldn't be like that in this day and this age. And things are going to get worse. The cost of fuel for heating and electric is going up by £700 this year. I haven't looked into this in any depth, but apparently the government led by Boris Johnson, that bumbling buffoon of a man, is insisting that every household, whether you like it or whether you don't, you are going to have a loan from the government of so much and pay them back so much each month. And that's so you're having a loan off the government to pay the excess in fuel bills, but you're having to pay that back to the government. Why not just say to the oil companies and the coal industry in where we import coal from and everywhere else, no, enough is enough, you greedy bastards. You're not getting any more. All of your profits have got to be cut, and the cut in your profits has got to be passed on to the people. Now, I remember a few years ago when there was a grant that you could get. We didn't get it. You've got to fulfil very stringent procedure to get this grant for, and that was for fuel, that was for heating and stuff like that. And people were applying and not getting it. We couldn't get it, certainly. We didn't even bother applying. But the Queen applied. The Queen applied for this grant to heat her various residents, Sandringham, Balmoral, Windsor, Buckingham Palace. How many bloody rooms do these people need? How many rooms? How many servants? And they expect it to be, even though they've got all this money coming in, they're the biggest landowners, the biggest land grab in the world. And from the colonies where they've stolen land in other countries, the biggest landowners in the world. And yet they still want more and more and more, which will generate more and more and more. And the abyss, as Jack London so rightly said, the people of the abyss, the book is called, if you want to get it, People of the Abyss by Jack London. And it's a very good book, and I need to read it again. It's years since I've read it. And it will just show you, depict what in graphic detail what working class life was like in London during the 18th, 19th century. And believe me, there are parts of the country where that still pertains. There are parts of India, parts of various countries that we, as the English nation, colonised and took resources from, but never paid back to the people. Never. The English upper class are the worst. They are the most arrogant, stuffy people you will ever find on this planet. Why am I going into a rant? I don't know. It was meant to talk about the Queen, I suppose. 70 years on the throne, platinum anniversary, hasn't been reached before, but let's put it all into perspective, shall we? You know, she's reached that grand old age. She's lost her teeth. She's got dentures, I suppose, and she's got one missing at the front. The rumour is that her hair is a wig that's put on every morning. So what? She's 96 this year. 96. Which in itself is an achievement, and an achievement that not many working class people get to, achieve. 96, they don't, because they're worn down by work. By the time they're retirement age, I mean, when I left school, you could leave school, people left school at 15. I left school at 15 and got my qualifications later on. So you could leave school at 15, you work till you're 65, it's going up, or has it gone up to 70? By the time you've finished, if you're in employment like something like the fire service, for example, or mining, you're never going to reach retirement age. Or if you do reach a certain age, you're not going to be able to work in that capacity. How could you possibly? But you're going to be expected to work until you're 70 years of age. I think that's what it's gone up to for men. I'm not sure whether it's the same for women with the balance and the equality now. Why? Why is life just from 15 to 70? Why does it just consist of work? Is that what life is meant to be? Is it? Work, work, work until your guts fall out. Gonna have my cup of tea. I don't know what brought all that on. I'll speak to you in a bit. Bye bye.